So Jesus once stood up at a huge religious ceremony of the Feast of Tabernacles, and he cried out, "If anyone is thirsty, let them come to me and drink, and I'll give you rivers of living water flowing from within you." So that was pretty dramatic, pretty disruptive, out of line, but exactly the point. Because that's how thirst works. Your body has a life or death need for water. And when your body levels are running short, your body says to you, "Thirst, get some more water."
I'm thirsty. What can I drink? It's funny how thirst just has that way of kind of stopping whatever else you are doing in order to care for that essential need within you. And Jesus is not, of course, just talking about water and our body's need for water. Jesus is using that to point to a different kind of thirst, a different kind of need within us that is just as essential, just as desperate, and that is our thirst for God, for communion with God.
Yeah. And John gives us a little editor's note right after this, explaining what Jesus meant when he cried out. Because he says this, by this he meant the Spirit, whom those who believed in him were later to receive. So up until that time, the Spirit had not been given, since Jesus had not yet been glorified. So he's talking about our need for this direct communion with God, for the Spirit to dwell in us.
That's right. And we have this thirst inside us for God. Just like for water, we have a thirst for God, but we don't always look to God to quench that thirst inside us. Sometimes, we drink from achievement to try to find satisfaction for our thirst. Like if I'm successful, if I make an impact, if I do something great, then I'll feel good about myself. I'll quench that thirst. I'll be satisfied, or so we think.
Yeah, and sometimes we try to drink from approval. If someone that I look up to approves of me, gives me their approval, then I will feel good about myself because of the decisions they approve or the choices that I've made that they approve of. Then I'll be satisfied.
That's right. Sometimes we just try to cover up our thirst with distractions, with busyness, with Netflix. Like if I fill my days with activities, places to be, and people to see, then I'll at least cover up my thirst. I won't notice it as much, or maybe I'll be satisfied through the busyness of life.
Yeah, but all those are pretty fragile because what happens when you can't do your job anymore and get that achievement? Or what happens when the person that you look up to disapproves of your choices? Or what happens when I can't do the activities that keep me busy? Then what? Then what do I do? How do I move forward feeling empty?
That's right. Jesus is standing up and he's saying, if anyone is thirsty, come to me. And that is the invitation to all of us still today. And the hard part is probably just first acknowledging that I am thirsty, because to admit my thirst for connection with God is vulnerable. To see how I'm running around trying to drink from all these other fragile sources for satisfaction when Jesus says, come to me, come to Jesus. It almost sounds cliche, but it is exactly where we need to start each day.
Yeah. And this is where Jesus takes a surprising turn because he doesn't stop at, "and you'll be satisfied." He says, "Out of the believer's heart will flow rivers of living water." Not just a cup, not just a trickle, a river. In other words, what you receive is what you become. You become a source of God's living water flowing out to others. You become a part of God's deep provision. You become a part of God's presence here on earth as God is present to you and now present to others. That is the participation of this river flowing out of us.
Such a cool picture. You just can imagine for a moment. Imagine a community where people are not scrambling around trying to satisfy their thirst through achievement or through approval, but are rooted, deeply rooted in an assurance that they already have all that they need. And because of that, they become people who can see others, who can see the overlooked, who can value the dismissed, who can include those who have been forgotten.
Yeah, that kind of community doesn't come from trying harder. It comes from a source. And the question is, are you thirsty? Are you thirsty? Because if you are, the invitation still stands from Jesus. Come to me and drink. And from there, let it flow.
Amen. Have a great week, everyone.